Welcome. First time for me here up on stage. MPLS, SRv6, AI. Is it just a coincidence of nice buzzwords, or is it a wake-up call? AI is reshaping the world, and that includes our networks. It also creates unprecedented opportunity, but also it is coming at us like a tsunami. And today, the speakers ahead of me already laid the ground nicely. And I'm going to put together a few things, how we see the world around AI. I want to break a couple of molds today, and I want to make you uncomfortable in certain things that I say, because sometimes it requires a bit of a wake-up call. And that's what I want to do today as your friendly networking enthusiast, Jürgen Hatheier with Ciena. And let's get right into it. So the world is currently being reshaped. And I think there are two major players. One, of course, the hyperscalers. They have put hundreds of billions into data centers. And then there are governments. And when we heard earlier, how we could employ AI agents as co-workers in the future, let me just quickly set something straight. The Chinese government today is hiring, employing, and training AI agents already. So this is not future music. This is happening today. We are in an industrial revolution. And if I just look back at this time scale, which doesn't go back to 1999 or whenever we started, our journey in networking, it just goes back 2 years, where LLMs and ChatGPTs of the world started to, disrupt. And that disruption has accelerated like I've never seen anything before. Like none of us, I hope, have ever seen before, because nobody was around in the Industrial Revolution, were you? So looking back on where we come from, where we are today with reasoning models, but also just look at any of NVIDIA's keynotes. We are heading towards physical, artificial, general intelligence, AGI being the North Star for a lot of the players out there. And then hopefully rather later than sooner, a singularity, where AIs grow a conscience. So we have built great networks in the past, right? We have nurtured them for many years, we have expanded, upgraded them, but we are waking up to be disrupted. Disrupted because what we have cared for so much is now being put to the test by AI. And we have been through many of those platform shifts, as I want to call them, those industrial shifts where we went from mainframes to PC to mobile smartphones, went all the way into the cloud. And now AI is the latest one. And I think this one here is different because it has a much more massive impact and a tsunami that we can't really comprehend right now. And you see it, what's going on in the stock market. There's so much uncertainty. But why is there so much uncertainty? Trillions are being spent on data center infrastructure. Well, the uncertainty comes because the value extraction, the adoption, is behind expectations. And it's behind expectations because I personally believe that expectations were unrealistic to begin with. You release an LLM in 2022 and you think that half of the world is going to use it 12 months later? Not quite. We needed to also evolve in the context of AI. But this year, I think is going to be the year where we absolutely see that massive extraction starting, value, GDP, being generated, and only then we will truly understand what the impact on the network is. So the networks that have served us so well, they have a couple of issues, right? They're a little bit rigid, they're inflexible, a bit opaque, and they are overly complex. And no, I'm not going to call our baby ugly. So let's talk about what's happening, what we already see, what we know, what we don't know. So firstly, I know you guys are going to hate that, but AI accelerating one concept. Remember we had this north-south traffic concept, and now we talked about east-west. I know it's super boring, but it's relevant in this context. And Michael said it, data center interconnect, the east-west has exploded. The last couple of years were incredible. And you can see, I put 2 data points up there, not to dwell on them, but the hyperscalers are even building subsea cables around the globe. They're putting cables in between South Africa and Australia. And the new currency is not a couple of 100 gig here or there, it's fiber pairs. We're talking about tens of terabits of connectivity. And that's the game change that we need to anticipate. The other thing to mention is we keep talking about consuming videos, right? But there's a new set of consumers out there already today, machines. Soon very intelligent machines. So M2M communication, AI to AI communication is going to change the world of networking because there are new requirements, very bursty requirements of traffic, very unpredictable in terms of time and the shape of that traffic. And that comes because on the simple network diagram up there, it shows a very simplistic AI agent application where an AI agent is trying to figure out, get a job done. It will talk to other large and small language models. It will have a supervisory AI checking the work that has been done. And all of that lives somewhere in a network, in a very complex network. Not in the big data centers connected with the big pipes, but out in the metro, on the edge, maybe even on-prem. And that's where the challenges will come in, but also where I think we have tremendous opportunity. And there is, quite a bit of money to grab out there to extract. Just think about the edge. 10,000 edge data centers to be expected to come online in the next 3 years. How do we interface with them? How do we peer with them? How do we extract the traffic from our users on the edge? That's going to be one of the challenges that we need to deal with. So let's talk about the legacy network here for a moment. And look, the IP MPLS networks, they have served us well. Don't get me wrong. They have done a tremendous job. All of you have done a tremendous job building those out. But now they're going to become strained by AI. And I think one of the speakers before me said, what's happening in the data center, is only slowly seeing the light of the day in our networks. So we're a little bit behind on the impact curve. We've got a little bit of a break to get ourselves ready. But sorry, I believe it's already 12:05, and we are not where we need to be. So we have static networks. We also have an issue when it comes to utilization, not just to deal with peak, but also underutilization, because we have a business to run, right? We can't throw bandwidth at it just to fix it. Protocols. If we think about the alphabet soup of protocols that we are dealing with on a daily basis, and then compare it to what's happening on the other side, and I'm talking about the hyperscale side, we are a little bit at a disadvantage. And then I want to highlight one other thing. And this is really the siloed networking approach we got. The long haul, subsea connectivity versus national networks, long distance networks versus metros versus the access. We separate this nicely, sometimes even in operational silos. So how in the world do we want to have an integrated, homogeneous network that we can rely on? So let's think about what we can learn from the data center players. And Meta is one that is always very, very forthcoming with information. As you know, Meta accounts for almost a quarter of global wireless traffic, about 12% of global fixed traffic. And even when they started deploying AI, they were hit by a tsunami. They didn't expect what came at them. They didn't have the tooling ready. So really, this is about where one conclusion is incremental tweaks haven't been enough. We need to think revolution rather than evolution. We also need to acknowledge that while this only happened inside the DC for now, the acceleration of interface speeds from 10, 25 to 100 to now 800 gig came literally overnight. And when companies are cloud native or cloud first, we also need to think networking in the context of AI first moving forward. So let's quickly take a non-emotional look at the difference in networks, telco networks, hyperscale networks. Massive, silos, complex protocols, even organizationally separated. We spoke about that already. Hyperscale networks, pretty much SDN controlled. And so when you look at the key differences, it's around automation, the convergence of domains horizontally, but also optical and IP convergence. So playing with a couple of plugs, with or without a DWM system, that's not going to be good enough in the future. The operational aspect of that is going to drive tremendous demand to our IT and back office systems, but it also creates that opportunity to intercept what's required to extract the money. So quickly talking about, since the slide is called threats and opportunities, what are the threats? If we miss out on the value extraction, think training costs money, inference and reasoning makes money. If you're not there, you're not going to make money, right? So loss of opportunity on the extraction. And secondly, if you want to be overbuilt once again, hyperscalers have overbuilt many of our great networks. I wouldn't wait too long because the metro is up for grabs next. But the opportunity is also sizable. Look, let's go and skip the learning curve, lead the pack with tech and commercials. And I think Mirko said it in the opening session, we want to make our network consumable like cloud service. And I think that's a great concept that I also want you to take away from this. And then the other thing, when others are waiting, just push ahead and push on. So, 2 more slides. I'm already getting the numbers here up front. Yes, Ray? Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the reality. We all live in a CapEx-constrained world, right? Legacy systems, organizational, cultural, old contracts which are keeping us profitable. Okay, I know this is, tough language, paralyzed. But in many cases, we have been talking about things for a decade, and we haven't gotten on with it for all these reasons. But also, I would like to say that, we are in the middle of an industry disruption. Remember the little up arcs? And within a disruption, there are always 2 things. Number one, of course, we keep cutting costs. We use AI to, save on employees. We run around the network hot, all the good stuff. That's fine. We got to keep on doing that to survive. But also, there's new opportunity created with every industry and platform shift. And that opportunity, you can see new entrants already coming in. CoreWeaves of the world, just deploying the data centers, getting your enterprise customers, eating away on your profitable value-added services for those customers. But it doesn't have to be that way. And before you pull out your tomatoes and throw them at me, I have one more slide where you can do that afterwards. But I want to use an analogy. By the way, not approved by my marketing department, but I'm saying it anyway. Think about climate change, right? We are here and we are dealing with this massive cost, which we could have avoided if we get out of our comfort zone 10 years ago and get on with what's required. So let's read the signals of our industry here and really be brave and get on what needs to be done in order not to lose out here. And having said that, I do not want to look back a couple of years from now, play victim, and be full of regrets that we haven't done anything. So what I want to offer over the next 48 hours is a blueprint, a couple of blueprints, parts of the network, business strategies that we have embarked with our customers on already. Some of them have entrusted us to build the future roadmap, and we're going to share those blueprints with you over the next couple of days. So we have a fantastic team here. Pradap leading the customer-facing engagements. Some of them know him already. And then we got Jan, Gary, Bill, John, Raf, Reza, Robert, who are going to take you through the individual elements. Because, there's not a one big blueprint you just roll out. But there are elements that you got to prioritize and build a strategy for the future. So I want to invite you to listen to those sessions, which cover our vision of an adaptive network and an adaptive operation. And with that, I just want to send you off with 3 thoughts and asks. Revolution, not evolution. So don't just find, the most strained part of your network when you go home and try to fix it. Think big. Balance the business and technology needs. We're all very proud of our technology, but as a matter of fact, if that cool technology doesn't make us any money, you can't monetize bandwidth anymore as we did previously. Work with your product guys. Work with the people that need to sell all the good stuff you build and build with them. And thirdly, AI is an ecosystem play, a very complex one, but it's dominated by a few players. So get on, call them up, see them at conferences, talk to them. What do they do? Where do they build? What do they need to offer their services? And then find out how you can participate in an ecosystem play. One thing I know for sure, I don't know what my predecessor speakers here said. I don't know all the details, but you are the smartest people in the room in this industry. And if somebody can figure it out, it's you guys. Together with your business partners, together with the vendor community, and together with the hyperscalers. And with that, thank you.